Alright, welcome back to part 2 of the metal. In this video we're just going to go over or review the units and just check for metal, check for the correct size and the correct parts and stuff like that. Just the 5 units that we chose, okay? So we've already checked unit 129, so we're going to use that as our basis to check the other ones. You may not have done it this way, but this is actually one of the more efficient way of checking it. Because if you take a look at it, you're going to still need the elevation, right, to check the width of the other units. But in terms of the verticals, you can use the pre-existing one that we just checked to also back check the sizes on the other ones as well. Alright, so let's get to it. Should be a very quick one. So first one up will be the door unit. So this one had a few problems. The cut size was drawn 3/4 too long, right? So if you take a look at the detail, this is your sill detail, right? And then our system logic for doors is the vertical stopping at where the sill track is at the very bottom. So pretty much right above the caulk joint. So with that said, if you were to take a look at that unit and then did the calculations on the vertical, right, you'll notice that the vertical tag line is drawn to the floor, right? So there's 2 ways in fixing it, right? One way would be you can say, okay, I'm going to stretch the tag line, right? So go LMM and you stretch it. So normally those won't be. That shouldn't be your first choice. That should be your last choice, is to manually stretch something, right? You always wanted the program to just kind of do everything for you. The reason why for that is, this unit could be used elsewhere, right? So if you fix a certain thing in the data, then it can be applied everywhere, right? Instead of just fixing this unit in front of you. So with that said, first you want to just UD your vertical, all right? So I already went ahead and just fixed, I believe it's the right side. Let's go back to bring back the model. Or fix the left side. Right. So your right side, I actually left the pocket filler unfixed. Just to give you guys an example. Right. So let's you can see LMS brings up the shop use parts. So in this case it's the pocket filler, because that gets pre-attached to our verticals. So you hit UD that mark number, and it'll bring you directly to the use, right? So I also left this mistake here as well, just to show you what we need to delete in order for things to show up correctly, right? If you were to just fix, so you normally we want to fix the source uses, right? So in this case, it's this one, right? I've already fixed it here, right? So when I UPD, it didn't apply. Right, that adjustment didn't apply, and that's because I have these other uses in here as well. So once the program reads it like, oh hey, I see that it's a door threshold SOW at the bottom, goes to the in head, I'm going to pick this one as my use because this is my auto detail. And this happens when you copy data from another program and then you have auto detail in it. When you copy it over, it doesn't create the auto detail in this grayed out locked version of it. It becomes an unlocked version and you can edit it all you want. So here you can actually just delete this and also delete the auto detail. Apply. Okay, and so this should fix it. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and just fix your adjustment to have -3/4 from the ground or wherever the tag line terminates up. Right? In this case, it's 3/4 up. Repeat that. So there you go. This unit actually has another issue. So if we use the side view, so if you do VPE, and you scroll over to the top, you'll notice that there's something irregular around here, right? And that's probably because we when we first initially typed this data in, we actually typed it in manually, and we didn't run layout, and we didn't check, we didn't have a chance to check it, right? We just made sure the data's in there. So if you have checked your metal correctly, you'll notice that right here at the top there's something wrong with it. Okay, no matter, we'll find a way to fix it. Another thing would be, if you go into paper space, you'll notice that the actual part, right, that's missing, which is a 2.5 by 2 channel right here, is showing on the metals table. So the metal is taken off, but it's not actually extruded in your BIM model, right? So the reason why for that is, in order for the BIM model to extrude a part, it needs to either grab a die drawing from the server, or it looks inside your dies folder for a die drawing, right? So let's go look into your folder, your dies folder, and see if you guys have a die drawing for the 212-218C. So go to Takeoff, Fabs, Dies, and immediately you'll see the part, but this is a fab template. We need a dies drawing for it. So a good way to look for it is just open up in this case, the Vans folder, right? You can just grab it from the actual job just to make things a little faster. So let's go into the LA server, go to Vans headquarters, drafting, Takeoff, Fabs, Dies, and then look for that part number. There. Okay, so this is your dies. Okay, so it's just a typical drawing, and it needs that in order for it to extrude. So just copy that and paste it into your own dies folder. Okay, minimize that. So after that, we can run UPD here. Should be pretty quick. You see how it pop up extrusion? So there you go. So now you have both the parts extruded, but now it's not in the correct layout. So now we just have to do the layout for that particular family. So in this case, it's one on 506A. This is the family, and this is the use we need to run layout on. So just open up the detail, which is 506A. So I have it already open. If you don't, then just pause the video here and just open it, 506A. Again, we're going to run layout, okay? So go into model space. Oh, I'm already in there. Okay. Refresh, just to make sure. Okay, and just hit this plus button right here. Again, the tagline is the top of the horizontal because that's the insertion point for the head. Right. Shift Control, the intersection, and then after this, just take the face of system. In this case, it's over here. So you just hover over the face of system, this dim point right here, and you see that green X up top. That means that's the intersection point between the top of the head to the dim point. So select that. Take a minute. Okay, and we're back. So we successfully selected that point. Now you see our two parts here. Just run the layout there. Remember, just rotate have your ortho on, align this part with the actual part it needs to be. Boom. This one, rotate that way, move it, align it over here. And you might wonder why, like, oh, this leg is going into the main extrusion. That's okay. We're gonna take care of this during fabs. Okay, so save changes. Okay, so that should work. And apply. Okay, so now go back to your unit. Refresh here. Okay. UPD. Okay. Check. Now you have all your parts. Minus, this one doesn't look right because the fabs. Again, we'll take care of that later. We just care about the parts right now. Let's make sure it's the correct adjustment. So you can't really tell, but just highlight these parts. Better way would just be changing the view to conceptual or realistic. I like conceptual. So this shows you the channel stopping daylight, which makes sense because on the left and right of it you have invisals and you have a trim invisal head and you have a trim up top and you have this pocket filler. So this pocket filler is going to close off the edge of this channel. So if you take a look at the side view, right there. So everything looks good. So switch that back to 2D. Okay, so after we can just go back to your paper space. Probably be easier to back check each other in this view. So you notice that there's a metal table here. We're going to use this to back check each other's horizontals. I've already checked my horizontals, so just look at these lengths for your horizontal. Your channel is 73.5 and your verticals are 17. Okay. And for this unit, you also notice that we're missing some dimensions, right? Some daylight dimensions. Don't worry, we're going to show you how to just put dimensions on there or annotate the units that we're drawing in a later video. So right now we're just focusing on metal. Okay, so once this is done, we're going to move on to the next one, which is unit 143. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So it's chronologically, let's do 143. So you'll notice that 143 is the far right. And I've already kind of back-checked the horizontals and everything, so it's all correct. So let's just use mine as a basis to back-check yours. So here are the lengths. Right. You can pause the video here for a minute if you need to back-check your horizontals. And then as for your verticals, again, if you compare it to 129, the vertical is 116 and 9/16. So just go over here, 116 and 9/16. Okay. Again, you can pause the video here if you need some time to back check your horizontals. All right, let's move on to the next one. 144. 144 is the one next to the door. So again, here are the sizes. Okay. You can pause the video here if you need to. Again, same vertical height. 145 is the last one we're going to do, and that is the left jam. All right. So let's go over here. Pause the video if you need to. Height is the same, 116 and 9/16. And also an additional note, I noticed that there was some of these jam units that had additional jam trim to it, this IT1-3. So what you should have done was just very simple, just find the extra tag and just delete it. So in this case, I've already deleted it. Okay. So that was my mistake that I found when I did this unit. You may or may not have it. But if you did, then go ahead. If you did and you deleted it, great. If you haven't, go ahead and check if you have an additional parts to it. So again, this pretty much wraps up the checking metal portion of the takeoffs. Next video, we're going to move on to checking glass. Okay, all right, stay tuned.